Quick warning, this is a re-upload from 3 months ago. There's gonna be a bit of commentary about that at the end, but just to let you know that this isn't to be taken too seriously. It's just a dumb comedy, and I just so happen to be the one reviewing it. But I hope you like it anyways. Or don't, I can't control who you are, I'm not your guardian. Anyways, on with the show. Hello, I am Bryce G.D. Tulloch, and welcome to the season finale of Expressing My Thoughts, the show where I watch some of the weirdest pieces of media out there and give my honest yet loose critique on it. This fucking movie. Freddy Got Fingered, a gross-out anti-comedy released in 2001 about a mentally unstable animator trying to make it big in Hollywood, starring the Canadian villain of comedy himself, Tom Green. Which I knew very little about before watching this, but I'm now obsessed with because of how terrible at comedy he is. Everybody needs an arch nemesis. James Bond has Ernest Blofeld, Wolverine has Sabretooth, Batman has the Joker, and I have Tom Green. And what better way to introduce him to this series than with this megalomaniacal train wreck? This is said to be one of the most hated comedies of the 2000s, if not of all time. Okay, maybe not of all time, but you get what I'm trying to say. And yet it's gained quite the cult following, mainly from stoners who want to enjoy movies with a very lowbrow take on linear neo-surrealist storytelling, i.e. The Greasy Strangler or pretty much anything on Adult Swim.
And this movie too, don't worry, I never forgot.
And I'm here to ask, really? You really think a movie where Agent Zed gets covered in elephant semen is considered as ahead of its time? Is it really warranted? Well, I gotta be honest, I don't even think the film cares. Alright, so to give you a quick rundown, because I am sure that a lot of people are too scared to see what this is about, Gord, played by Tom Green. So wait, does that automatically mean that this is an auteur theory movie? I don't want to think about it too much. Anyways, Gord wants to become an animator and tries everything in his power to get the budget and finances for it all, while trying to keep his disapproving father happy. Sounds simple enough, right? My answer to that is definitely not. This film gives up on it surprisingly quickly and focuses instead on invading a meat factory, ruining his father's life, violating several animal rights laws, partaking in the most violent birthing scene I've ever seen in a movie, sausages, licking an open wound from a guy played by an extremely surreal actor who was casted as the straight man for some reason, an unplanned trip to Pakistan, the grossest way to eat celery, sausages, Shaq humping the air, a kid getting skewered by an airplane, wonder chosen for the zebra demographic, a disabled rocket scientist who has a fetish for getting hit in the legs with a bamboo pole, someone holding up a sign stating what the audience is currently thinking right now.
Okay, that one is actually pretty funny.
And sausages. It's also going to bring up this scene of a bunch of kids watching the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but if there's any kids film out there that could bring an entire family together and teaches us about how morbid cannibals are, it's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I'll let it slide.
It's a very out there film. In fact, it's so out there that I can't even muster a sentence on what I even think of it. Nor do I think of a universe where this film in its state could actually work. Does it work as a satire to early 2000s teen sex comedies like American Pie or Road Trip? Well, I guess, but I think that would be an insult to actual satires of the subgenre, which at least have a motive, a method to the madness, and a variety of jokes that make fun of those types of films, like Not Another Teen Movie, Clueless, Beavis and Butthead Do America, or Scream to an extent. This film, however, is very one note. While there is a ton of wild stuff happening throughout, it's all in an attempt to shock without knowing how to make it funny, and that's about it. Does it work as something that could be considered as so bad it's good? That's also up in the air, considering that it's trying to drive home the point that anyone could see a comedy even if it's the worst thing ever, which, yeah, good luck with that. While there is no motive, there is an intention. The intention of making something so vile and cruel that calling it bad would actually benefit it. Which I can kind of admire. It almost harkens back to the days of Harmony Korine. If there's an image, a line of dialogue, or even entire sequences that would stay with you, the film had successfully done its job. But the big problem lies with a personal preference of mine, and that is that there are some actual funny lines in this movie.
Get out of my goddamn scuba gear, you imbecile!
There are some pretty memorable sequences here, even if they aren't for the most positive reasons. It does know how to be funny, but does it so rarely because of how disjointed it really is. And I'm not advocating against zero plot shock humor, since Aqua Teen Hunger Force is one of my favorite cartoons of all time. But while that had some pretty clever writing beneath its low-brow, crude exterior, this has...
Would you like some sausage? Freddy, would you like some sausages? Freddy, would you like some sausage? Sausages.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to put people off of sausages for the rest of their life. No siree.
Everything about this just feels so jarring. The editing, the acting, the pacing. As a matter of fact, let's talk about the pacing for a moment. Let's go back to that hospital scene. This is probably one of the most disgusting things I have ever seen in my life. I know that Tom Green was trying his best to push the R rating as much as he can, but it's shot in a disturbing way. It's a scene of violence and abuse all done to an unborn baby, and it feels extremely out of place. This is like something that could come from Lars von Trier or Gaspar Noé, not a mostly lighthearted turn-off-your-brain teen comedy. And then with no segue, it suddenly becomes an emotional moment?
That mother is going to have some very interesting stories to tell to his kid when he grows up. Like if he asks how babies are born, she's gonna come out and say, well, you were pulled out by Tom Green, flung around like a lasso for a few seconds, and bam, you came into this world. Congratulations, Timmy. Here's your, what are kids into nowadays?
This scene here is literally just drive-by shock humor. I know I'm starting to sound like a broken record here, but what else am I supposed to say about this scene? It adds nothing to the story and nobody ever brings it up again. I would say that this is literally just a blatant middle finger to Chekhov's gun, but maybe I've just become numb to shock humor at this point. It's an experiment in patience, and how much you could deal with watching the worst things to ever be put on the big screen. Scenes that James Gunn was fired over for the mere thought of them, which I still think is pretty stupid because, come on, he released the movie Super. And it shows through the horrified reactions that everyone had to this, including people on YouTube. The Walker brothers from Channel Awesome.
No, you know what? I have to pause this. I need a minute.
Mike and Jay from Red Letter Media.
All these damaged children watching this horribly violent film, and then this squeaky clean sitcom.
Yeah.
Nate from the Renegades Media Group.
I tried watching it. I tried liking it as a kid and as an adult. That's right. I watched this film twice, trying to understand. And if I don't get it, I don't want to get it.
Phantom Strider's very own Josh Strider.
Welcome to the most immature, vile, ugly, grotesque movie ever conceived by man.
And me. Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. So I know there's gonna be a lot of people saying, hey, this is a really stupid, raunchy comedy and you shouldn't really take it that seriously. You're just being a little too critical of it and all that jazz. And when I did my initial release for this exact video 3 months ago, that's what most of the comments seemed to be about. I felt like I was kind of taking it a little too seriously. But just reminding you who you're talking to, I am the kind of person who would do all that crazy shit that Tom Green does. As a matter of fact, the physique for the character of CMF was loosely based on the physical acting of 3 different people. Joji, Gigi Allen, and yes, Tom Green. So, in all honesty, this exact film was tailor-made for me as a young adult. I loved Filthy Frank when I was younger, and I still do. Just saying. So in conclusion, bottom line, Trenchfoot. What do I think of Freddy Got Fingered? That's actually a difficult question. Spent all my time visually analyzing most of the film, just saying that is it supposed to be for this audience or this audience? And my final verdict just comes out as, I don't fucking know. Again, I feel like this movie was made for nobody but Tom Green, because whatever he was trying to do, he succeeded at it, at least. Anyways, I think I've gone down this rabbit hole enough, so I'm gonna dig myself out. The next video is gonna be on Death Grip, so just keep an eye out for that one. See you later. Door's locked.